When I hear the word diabetes, it makes me think about that someone has a serious problem or an illness, but knowing that it can be controlled with proper care, and realizing that it's got something to do with the blood. Sometimes when I was young, I used to think it just because maybe I ate so much sweet that would give me diabetes. But now I'm finding out there's other factors that cause of diabetes.
Mm-hmm. And do you have diabetes yourself?
No.
Okay, I didn't think that you did.
No.
What about in your family?
I'm quite sure. I know my mother-in-law has diabetes, my brother-in-law, and I have two brother-in-laws that has diabetes. Maybe my sister won't. When I leave here today, I'm going to go on the porch with her to ask her that question because I know she had a form of cancer.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but your parents or grandparents, that, as far as you know, didn't?
Before as I know, they didn't have diabetes.
Okay.
Yes.
You're kind of active in the Diabetes Coalition. You've been a little active in that.
Right, yes.
And what got you interested in doing that?
Well, I'm the president of the local NAACP here, and we have a health component of our organization. So the ladies that was a part of the health committee, they started looking into some grants. There were some grants out there, and diabetes was one. And after we found out that Winston County and Mississippi in particular have a very high percentage of people having diabetes, and so that made us, and just being concerned about health issues in general. Yeah.
So you're part of the health commission of the NAACP, is that correct?
No. Each local branch has a health committee of the NAACP.
Okay.
And our health committee here in Winston County,
okay,
they have been involved in different. We sponsor health fairs.
Okay.
And so different, as we talked to different folks, that we found out that there was different problems. And we probably got some information as to say, we know that Winston County is high with cancer. And then after we got off with the diabetes, we realized that we have a very high rate of diabetes here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think causes diabetes then? Do you have some ideas about that?
Well, poor eating habits, stress, just not the right diet, having the right diet to eat in a lot of instances. And as to being involved with the Diabetes Coalition, I know that we have been trained, been taught the different things, but right off the top of my head that, I know stress is one, and just improper diet.
Okay. Do you think there's things in the community that put people here in Winston County at greater risk than some other folks might be?
Well, yes, we have a lot of poverty here. I would say there's something. I think the environment here in Winston County, I think it might be not what it should be, but and so I think that just in general, just don't have the education as we should have about health issues. I think that we have improved. I will say that. Yes.
Do you think there's a problem with particularly the older folks, because things have changed over time, as far as being able to read and write? Is that a problem that you are aware of?
I'm quite sure that it is, but now with the older people, in one sense here in Winston County, I think most of it falls under some type of care. And I would say that our health professional that we have here, they do show a concern for the people that they are caring for. And so I think pretty much that there might be a few people that don't have the proper care like they should, just don't know. Because there are some people in these rural counties that don't hardly nobody know where they live.
Right. What do you think are some of the most important things a person that has diabetes needs to do to take care of themselves?
Well, they need to make sure that they can try to stay stress-free as they possibly can. They got to make sure that if they're prescribed medication, make sure that they take their medication. They should exercise, and the diet. I don't know if I said that. They probably in most cases definitely need to change their eating habit, because here in the South, our still level, we eat a lot of fried food, and it's just a part of our culture, both black and white. Because this is the one good, I mean, not a good thing, but this is a thing that illness affect all of us, and so we pretty much love our peas, cornbread, fried chicken, and so we just have to try to stay away from diets like that. Yeah.
You mentioned a couple times already the word stress. Can you talk a little bit about the kinds of things that might be stressful for people?
Well, the ones that have money, they stretch for them to try to see how they're going to hold on to their money. The ones of us that don't have any money, it's just stressful to know wondering how we're going to make our dollars stretch from week to week, day to day, month to month, and that causes stress. I would think poverty would cause more stress than anything, because especially if you have children like me. I now have grandchildren, so I worry about them, where in the past I just worried about my children. So now I'm getting older, that make worry about my grandchildren and my children. And we're finding out that young people are getting diabetes and all this. And back when I was a boy, that was disease for old folks and disease for young folks. Right. We had polio, and older people had whatever that they had, but now both young and older is affected by diabetes. Yeah.
Do you have concerns for your children or grandchildren in relationship to diabetes, or are they taking pretty good care of themselves? Well,
I think that they, in today's world, with the work schedule being the way that it is, I think that young parents, their parents are young, they get stressed out, so they might give them a hot dog, where I wouldn't. We wouldn't do that back in, when our children were growing up. So, so you worry about, maybe that they are not eating right, not the lack of food. But some children don't have anything to eat. Mine, I know that they do have something to eat, but where we might not be able to prepare the food the way that it needs to be prepared as a balanced diet. So I kind of worry about that, because children have a tendency if they like something, they could eat it every day.
Right.
And sometimes we as parents let them just have whatever they want every day, whatever they like every day.
One of the things that I hear a lot is that people that have low incomes often are overweight. And do you have any ideas about what that relationship is?
Well, because basically, if you if you ever go in the grocery store, especially the first of the month, third of the month, then you kind of that's where you can kind of target low income people. And if you look at what they are buying, it's pretty much it's on the fast food variety. I mean, it's a quick fix, a chicken nugget, something of that nature. So they just throw it in the oven and it's almost like the same effect that they're eating at the restaurant. Not so much, they do go and splurge as to say the restaurant, because everybody feel that they're entitled to do whatever that they need to do. But just don't know, being uneducated as to say what type food that they really should buy to make them go over from week to week or month to month.
Do you have a garden?
I have a garden.
Do you?
Yes.
How big a garden do you have?
I have a garden that's probably about 24 by 24, and we produce enough vegetables to feed my wife and the kids for the winter. I'm picking peas. I got peas to shell when I get back home. So.
So do you can and freeze?
We freeze. We freeze. When I was a boy, we canned. My mother died, and we talk about eating habit. I was raised up. My mother died before I was 2 years old, so I was raised. My daddy started cooking for us, so I was raised up with biscuit, some type of meat, for either just fatback sometime, and syrup. morning, noon, and night until I went by my aunt's and uncle's house. That's when we got our vegetable. But so just saying, eating habits. In one sense, my daddy outlived everybody in his family age-wise, and he was a drinker. So it's just kind of like I look at life as to say, I pray to the good Lord to keep on blessing me the way that He has blessed me, and try to instill in young people that the land, you need to try to plant your garden. But after our generation is gone, ain't too many, it ain't gonna be too much left.
So you're not seeing the younger people in the community?
Well, we do have a 4-H group here where I'm a part of Winston County Self-Help, where we do farm stuff. And there's a garden right over, not that far from here, there was a 4-H garden. It's beautiful, now with the help of the adult. But them young people ain't gonna go out there and do anything unless they got some type of supervision, though. So there's pockets. We got a park right down the road here, Dean Park, where they have just this year alone implemented the raised garden, where people from the community can come and plant their own little garden right in the park. So this is something new.
Or how's it going? Do people have to take advantage of that?
Yeah, people have taken advantage of it. They're going to do a story on this lady that's very instrumental in getting this park. We are in the process of renovating this park. They're going to do a story on her. I think she told me sometime this week. Winston County Self-Help. I don't know if you've ever read us online.
I was at your conference.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Right.
Well, that's exciting to hear that there's this effort kind of stretching out a little bit more in the community.
And I think it just saying being involved with the diabetes, because one of the young men that's down at the park participated in the diabetes classes that we have put on, and so he's very instrumental in helping Dean Park. He started a walking for the community, and we have 2 walking clubs. Winston County Self-Help, they got a walking club, and then the Dean Park group has a walking park. Now these just pretty much black folks that I know. I'm quite sure there's a lot of white folks walking too. I don't know anything about. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So it sounds like some things are taking positive steps forward, at least.
Right. Yeah, and it's just that as to when you're aware of things, it helps you to. If you're a leader of the community, you do your best to try to spread the word, because that's why we are saying that we are in the predicament that we're in, because our people are uneducated, and through whatever ways that we can finance, it's pretty much hard. We can't put these different programs on ourselves, and that's why it's good that grant monies are out there. We got people smart enough to know how to apply.
What's happening with particularly the African American young people in the community? Are they taking care of themselves? Are they interested in the community? Are they involved? Or?
Well, you got pockets, like I said, but then, like I live in town, and so my community, so it's kind of like you got your town, you got the different communities, and there are pockets of community are doing well. There are pockets of community, say in town, and where you got your low income people living, they just survive it. They just, they don't have interest in anything, because they don't understand the system, and we don't. Our school system, we got a school system that is not concerned about our young people. They just not concerned, and it's hard to rally the community in a sense to know that you got to ask questions on some things that are happening within the system, and to let the young people know that we are concerned about them, and that's hard to reach them. It's just hard because within the NAACP we have the youth council, as to try to get young people involved. We're going to Jackson this weekend to what we call a hip hop summit that we're putting on, and where the young people say, they last year we had this our 4-1, but took my grandchildren last year. And you know, you hear the story from across the state. You know, there's young people that are very concerned about what's happening. But then you go back to certain local community, young people not involved at all. You know.
So I'm concerned about this part of the community that sort of checks out. In other words, they're not engaged and they're not. Do you have any ideas about how we go in
and help them?
Yeah. You know, handouts don't help.
No.
We've kind of learned that. So what can we do to begin to, what's it going to take?
Well, it's basically going to, in order to bring about a change, and strangers cannot go in. I mean, I'm a stranger, you know. I mean, a stranger can't go into nobody's neighborhood one day and fix it. You're going to have to almost be on if it's not a weekly basis, you know, you about ain't going to be able to do whatever that you need to do to change anything, you know, because that's just how the needs are, because most of the people that lives in, say, our poor neighborhood here in Winston County, they are so far behind until, like I said, you would almost have to almost like adopt them as a family. And that's about the only way that it can be done, because you know that I have tried through my church. We dealt with it for a while, but we just couldn't deal with the children. I mean, you know, because you it's hard. That's all I would say. It's hard. And but all the thing I can we ought to say that there's no way that we need to forget them. You know, we need to try everything that we possibly can. As saying, well, one thing, in order to get somebody out of what they are in right now, you got to get them out of the condition that they are living in. I mean, you got to get them out of that environment. We help somewhat because we do put on the education. As education, I mean, it's kind of like the Bible. If you only help one.
Is it fixed now? Yes. Okay.
If you only help one, you feel that you have done something.
Yes.
But I think that we're in a period of life that we got to almost try to say we got to help the masses, because otherwise, you know, we ain't got enough time.
Well, it seems like if we just let it go, it just gets worse.
No, it's gonna get worse. Ain't no going. I mean, it's going to get worse. I mean, if we all just walk by it as if that is not even happening. See, I just found out something last week. Shoplifting is up here in Winston County. We only got two stores, you know, grocery store, and in the grocery store, shoplifting is up. And you know, and I ain't never known how bad it is, but it's bad. I'm hearing now, and really, it's not that people just stealing to be stealing. They're hungry, you know, because I can see right now, my grandchildren been with me for 2 weeks now. I have spent more in 2 weeks on food than me and my wife spent in a whole month. Yes. So you can imagine most of these families got, you know, 3 to 4 and 5 to 6 children, you know. So it's rough. But only thing that I would say is that, you know, that we just have to thank God that we do have Christian people that, you know, I think just before somebody just die all the way, somebody will come in and try to save them. But, you know, I think if I had to live under condition the way that they are living, and knowing that there's a better way, some of them don't know if there's a better way now, and knowing that there's a better way, I'd probably just go on and jump in the pond somewhere and drown. You know what I mean? Yeah. What is it worth, really? Yeah. And that just saying as to say when you get ill, you know, I mean, there's a certain illness that, I mean, you know, a certain point of life that we know that we're going to die. And so that's why we try to get educated to understand how to try to take care of our body to the best that we possibly can to live. I don't know what's young and what's old anymore, but we do that. A person died 7, 8 years old. Somebody said, "Oh, that's young." I don't oh, that's so young and not. And I'll be 65 this year, you know. So I guess yeah, it is young.
Everything's relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just don't know exactly. It seems that that the problems. I guess I take a very holistic picture of health. You know, so Diabetes Coalition, we're emphasizing diabetes, but the things that prevent diabetes keep you healthy
Right.
from lots of other things as
Right.
well.
Right.
And it seems that when we think about health, it really is more than just seeing the doctor or just eating. It
Right.
also is, do I have a job, or do I
Right.
feel
Right.
good about myself,
Right.
or
Right.
you know. And so, for those reasons, it seems important to think about in a community these other perspectives that
Well, and see, in a time, well, that's two. I mean, two organizations that's within a community: your schools and your churches. And I feel both of it is filling our communities.
Mm-hmm.
And the schools just don't care because of we got poor people within the public school. They don't care. All they're looking for is bringing their buddies or their family members' children into the system. Let them go on to be our next leader in life. Mm-hmm. Where our poor children that's in here don't even know how to read and write in most cases. So anytime you let your education system fail you, you know you're in trouble. And anytime your church is based on all we do is based, and I'm a Christian, I go to church every Sunday, all we do really is it's just kind of like we are just concerned about our little, what we got in, as we say, within the church. That's all we basically concerned about. And we might have outreach here and there to say, oh, we're going to go to Allen Plaza. Allen Plaza is one of the worst housing places. Mm-hmm. We're going to go to Allen Plaza and feed the kids hot dogs this weekend. So we feel that we have done our Christian duties. And so until we go to talking, as I say, straight talk, especially within our churches and with our school, we just make sure that we be very careful who we elect to the certain position, because that's the way that's run. Mm-hmm. So we just, you know, we got to change the approach within the church and the school. And family, you know, family, I mean, it's going to be what it is. Because we haven't told our young men as to say, make sure you go out here and try to find you a wife at a very young age. Make sure that this woman that you fall in love is the woman that you want to be with for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And we haven't told our young girls that make sure that son of God don't touch you until he have promised you that he want to be with you forever. Mm-hmm. And so it's you know, I would hate to be a young man coming home today. I really would. Mm-hmm. Because I probably wouldn't get married. Because it's, you know, what, as they say, you get in the milk, what's the sense of getting married? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I came along, you didn't get the milk until you were married. So
it's a different age, isn't it?
Different age.
Yeah, definitely. So going back to I appreciate what you had to say about church, your mm-hmm. church experience. How do we help? And I think that's probably a common thing that happens, you know.
Right.
How do we help or engage the church in conversation around the idea that they have to extend their good works to more than themselves?
That's a tough one. I mean, you know, I think we wrestle with that every day, every week, or whatever, because you know that because we are basically saying about the church the same thing about the family. There's been a breakdown of the church. And how do you change it? You're basically going to have to get some very, I don't know, I mean, the church is a very complex one to change, because I've seen people come in and say that, hey, God have given me this vision to do this or do that, and they are the worst devil that you ever want to find. And And I've seen people to come in and say, well, I don't know if I even want to be bothered with him, and they or her, and they turn out to be some of the best workers that you would ever find. So it's kind of like that we can get over and give our. I don't give testimonies too fast, you know. I mean, I thank God for everything that He have done for me and can continue to do. But you know, as to say, getting up, giving testimony, I say that a person, something is wrong with them, you know, when they get up and give all these testimonies all the time. I mean, God didn't tell us that we have to do that. So it become a personal thing. I feel that the pastors really lose focus as to say why God have called them to be preachers, and so we as a congregation, we put so much trust within our pastor. He can't do no wrong in our eyesight, and so that's bad. And deacons are the one that showed up. I mean, church members will talk about deacons. I mean, they won't talk about preaching, but they will talk. And the deacon is the next, I feel, most important person within the congregation. So why do we as a congregation talk about our deacons, but won't talk about the pastor? The pastor doing the same thing they doing, you know. So it's just that we have to be very careful as to say, don't get brainwashed, don't get too enthused about nothing where you just, you know. I mean, you got the religion, one thing about it, I don't care how much God bless you now, He still don't want you to get crazy over it. You know, He wants you to understand how to walk, how to do what I have commanded for you to do. And we don't, if you ain't got no money, we don't want to be bothered with you. That really, I mean, that's what it really boils down to now. I mean, that's the bottom line. If those poor people had some money, and coming to our church and would, we would accept them open arms. We know that we're going to have to spend something on them. You know, we don't want to do that.
How do you see the role that you take in the NAACP as different from the role you take in your local church?
Within my church? Oh, and I do. I'm on a different. I'm a different leader in the NAACP than I am the church.
Yes.
So I take the role of both of them, being concerned about both of them. I'm going to be there to support both of them. Realizing that I'm going to have to, at the NAACP, I'm going to have to come out and speak on things that I don't have to speak on in the church. You know, so I think that's the only different role that I really see, because, you know, I'm going to make sure that, you know, I'm a trustee in the church. So I'm gonna make sure that if anything go wrong around the church building, that I'm gonna get taken care of. I'm gonna make sure that I support the church. You know, whatever program that we as a church have said that we're gonna do, I'm gonna support them to the best of my ability. Some of them I ain't gonna. Some of the program that we got I'm not gonna do. Well, the NAACP, whatever program that we got, because I know as to say what it means, I'm going to try to make sure that I'm there for that for sure. Well, the church, I'm almost, and that just because I'm at the age that I am, and knowing that there's a lot of bull in it. Church, I'm almost ready to sit on the back porch and don't do nothing, you know. But where at the NAACP, I realize I feel like that, but I realize that I would stick with that longer, because I can see the missionary in me that God had told me, you know, told us to be, you know.
And what is your role in the NAACP?
I'm the president on the local level, and I'm the first vice president on the state level. Okay. And I'm the chairman of the legal redress on the state level. And the legal redress committee get pretty much all complaints comes in to us. It comes through me, and so I hear it from all over the state, and even I get people calling. I don't know if you heard about the Scott sisters that had been locked up for 16 years, and the governor let them out. So, and we was instrumental in that. And so now they think that we have turned into God. So, they call and, can you mind? You know, it don't work like that.
So in some ways, the influence you have through the NAACP in this community might be stronger than what you have through your church, would you say?
Right.
Different groups.
Different group. different groups. I mean, because I got the same, you know, I mean, I go, because I am a Christian, so I go to the church got their little inner things that they do, so I'm a part of that.
Right.
But it's just that I haven't connected with the preachers just yet, or the leaders within the church, to say that we got to start talking social issues more than what we talk. There's no need for us to have Sunday school the way that we continue to have Sunday school. When we know that there are problems within our church, this is the time, and let's do Sunday school to talk out what's going on in your life, you know.
Yeah.
And
but you know, and maybe we need to have some more conversation about this some other time, but I'd be really interested to hear a little bit more about ways to bridge pulling church and the work and the community together. And because if we're just to be done in a minute, thank you. If we can find some way to not make health separate. Health is part of all of this, and so, you know, diabetes prevention becomes just one of those big issues.
And one of the things that I said that we need to, as the NAACP, to try to connect the NAACP with the community, because we have a standing committee for every education, health, you know, every walk of life that you would finance. That somewhere along the line that we got to have pretty much we need somebody from every congregation, if you want your total county to grow, to be a part of one of those committees, you know, and that way your word would get spread back to the church.
Exactly.
You know, because I went out there and heard this, Mr. Brother Pastor, and you need to get up and put emphasis on it. I mean, see, that's the thing. We ain't got nobody to put no emphasis. Basically, if Pastor would put emphasis on certain things, we would get a whole lot more done. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, you're right. But, you know, and like I said, this one that I hope that, what, you know, out of every relationship that we come across, that's what they're about, because you live somewhere else.
Right.
Oh, I know this. Yeah. You know, they doing what they doing down in Mississippi, so we need to, you know, connect. Yeah.
Well, we kind of got off of directly talking about diabetes, but I don't really feel like we do, because I really think these things are connected, and if we're looking for not just describing the problem, but identifying a solution, we're going to have to look in some different kinds of directions. I
agree. But it was enjoyable, and I just hope that we, as a community, understand health issues. Because if we don't take care of the bodies, we ain't gonna be here long.
You're absolutely right.
Like I say, I'll be 65 this year, the Lord's willing, and so I know I won't double that.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, right.